Okay, while that's soaking, remember these guys? I said that they needed to be soaked in some OxyClean. So I'm going to do that and let that take place. So you don't need much. You know, for this small jug, there's like, you know, probably a teaspoon, a little bit more, teaspoon and a quarter. Let the water get really nice and hot. OxyClean works best with hot water. It's just about there. Alright, that's good and hot. Ouch, that's very hot. So I'll just give that a good rinse so it gets dissolved. Fill it up to about here. It's just filled up to about there. I'll leave it in the sink so in case it gets spilled, I'm okay. And I'll leave that soak, and this is actually ready to do the magic trick with by this point, I would suppose. So I'm going to reposition the camera so I can show you that. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I forgot one important part. So we have this post here, and it needs to be sanitized as well. It should be given a good rinse first. You can even give it a light scrub if you want, if it's grungy, but it shouldn't be. Shouldn't be grungy. You want to give the inside a rinse, which can be difficult to do. Ouch. It's very hot. You can't see the water coming out the other end of my tube there, but the inside is getting a rinse. And then what I do is I put this in here to sanitize it. If it doesn't get fully submerged, which it doesn't, you can see, it's no big deal. I'll just leave it sit to 2 minutes, and then I'll turn it around the other way upside down and leave it sit another 2 minutes, and away we go after that. Alrighty, so we just reverse that bad boy, and we wait another 2 minutes. Alright, so we're done. Now the trick may be finding a clean and sanitary place to store this until you need it again. I will leave that as an exercise to the reader. That's your job to figure out. Now for my magic trick. So, let's repeat the problem here. We've got everything sanitized up to here, and we need from here up sanitized. There's actually a really easy way to do that. You see, we have a bucket here, and what we can do is put the bucket over top, and hopefully I can do this without any major spillages. Just turn it over. There. Now it's actually sanitizing a little bit of the outside top of the keg, which is desirable as well, because that part is stuff that you manipulate when you're getting your beer and so forth. The rim of the keg, the outside rim of the keg when you're filling it, which I hope to still be able to do tonight. And I just leave it for my 2 minutes, and away we go. Alright, so the 2 minutes is up, and we're going to experience the downside of this method of sanitizing your keg. Star San has a foaming version, which is more common, and a non-foaming version, which I don't have. This is the foaming version. It foams really, really a lot when you glurg it or whatever, so when I pull this out of there, it's going to bubble and foam inside the keg, and that's going to take a long time to come out. We'll show you. You listen. You listen. So you can see that there's actually quite a lot of foam there produced just by doing that, and I will show you in a moment, but that keg is going to be fairly full of foam. I'm just going to let that drain a little bit, and the foam will take a pretty long time actually to subside. So what you can do is you can use the trick I showed earlier where you just leave the keg sitting like this is perfectly fine. Dirt and stuff from the air tends to settle down into something. It doesn't go up into it like that. So I consider that sanitary. Even if I'll leave it like that for an hour or 2 hours, I will still consider it sanitary. We're just going to have a peek inside here. You can see that it is foamy. I'll break that foam. That foam goes right down through pretty much, oh, you can't see. Let me get our flashlight. So the foam goes pretty much right down to the bottom of the keg, and it'll take a very long time to subside. So what I am going to do is I am just going to tip it upside down and leave it there and forget about it for a little while. I'm going to try to find my lid for this bucket. Oh no, I still have some sanitizing to do, but I still need a lid for that bucket anyway, so that I can put that firm lid on there and store it in the basement later. Alright, I've set aside the keg, and what I'm going to do here is just deal with this. Dump it out carefully. Probably not the best idea to be dumping it out over my sink, because I could lose a piece of it down there. So what you can do actually is take the pieces out one at a time, handle them carefully, give them a good rinse. Now OxiClean has to be rinsed extremely well. It can leave a residue that you don't want in your beer. Unlike Star Sand residue, I don't care about it really. Even a fair amount of it, up to like a table or a teaspoon or so, not a big deal. But OxiClean, you definitely do not want in your beer. So rinse it really well. My 2 poppets. I think that's everything. 2 poppets, a post, and 2 poppets, a dip tube. I was using the wrong word earlier, I believe. It's a dip tube. This thing is called a dip tube, not a post. This is actually the post. Alright, we're good to go with that. And now what I want to do, give this a good rinse. So I'm just going to retrieve a little bit of Star Sand from my Star Sand bucket over here. And got my Star Sand. Now you can see, like I was saying earlier, all these pieces are wet, and so they are in fact diluting my Star Sand solution. So if I hadn't mixed it a little bit stronger, it would now be technically below the recommended dilution. So those are all in there. They only need 2 minutes. Not going to worry too much about it. You can let it sit longer than 2 minutes. We're just basically being held up by the foam draining out of our keg.